Frank Humphreys. Once, a man came to see Bhagwan in Virupaksha cave. He stayed only for a week. During that time, he composed and sang 4 songs in praise of Bhagwan. He said his name was Venkatrama Iyer, and that he was from Satyamangalam, a small village close to Tiruvannamalai. Later he sent a 5th song, the famous hymn Ramana Sadguru. When Bhagwan read the 5 songs, he was struck by their beauty. Ever since then, many Tamil-speaking devotees of Bhagwan have been singing them. Strangely, when some of the old devotees went to Satyamangalam to meet Venkatrama Iyer, nobody in the village knew anything about him. Later on, while devotees were discussing this, Devaraja Mudaliar remarked, while at Virupaksha cave, Bhagwan had written 5 hymns in praise of Arunachala. To this, Murugana replied, Father Arunachala wanted to express his gratitude, so he came in a human form as Venkatrama Iyer and sang 5 hymns on Bhagwan. One of the verses in Ramana Sadguru proclaims that Bhagwan has hoisted his flag of wisdom to lead billions of beings to liberation. What is a billion? 1 followed by many zeros. If you remove all the non-existent zeros that the billions of individual egos in reality are, what remains is only the 1. That one is Arunachala. That one is Ramana. And that one is what every one of us really is. And not the Rams, Rahims and Ronalds we think we are. Bhagwan came to make us remember our original, divine nature. No one was excluded from his grace, be it man, woman or beast. Until now, all his devotees were Hindus. It was time for the teaching to spread across the divide of nations and religions. And spread indeed it did, without disturbing the faith of the thousands who came seeking from all corners of the world. Frank Humphreys was a young British police officer and a Catholic. Transferred from England, he arrived in Bombay, now Mumbai, with a high fever and had to be admitted in a hospital. A psychic possessing occult powers, Humphreys used these powers to get relief from the intense pain he was suffering while in the hospital. He then transported his subtle body to Vellore, a town near Tiruvannamalai, where he had been posted, and saw one Narasimhaya who was to teach him the local Telugu language. Later, when he arrived in Vellore, Narasimhaya introduced himself saying, I am your Telugu tutor. He said, I know. How do you know? Asked the puzzled tutor. I have seen you, though you have never visited Bombay. I travelled in my astral body and met you. Narasimhaya had tutored many Britishers, most of whom were spiritually disinclined. He presumed that this man was just crazy. Humphreys then requested Narasimhaya, I would like to read a book on Hindu astrology in English. Can you help me? Narasimhaya presumed that this was yet another crazy question from him and ignored it. Seeing this, Humphreys continued, Are there any Mahatmas here? Mahatma means great soul. This last question startled Narasimhaya. He wanted to test Humphreys. He left without giving any reply. The next day, he returned with a number of photographs of sages and saints and went to Humphreys' room. Seeing no one there, he left them on the table and went away. When he came back, Humphreys had returned as well. Taking one photograph from the pile, he asked, Narasimhaya, is this not your guru? He was referring to a photograph of Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni. Kavyakantha was indeed Narasimhaya's guru. Thrilled, Narasimhaya concluded that Humphreys was genuine, or there could not have been so many amazing coincidences. Humphreys revealed, Last night, your guru came into my dream. He sat next to me in my bed and said something in a language that I could not understand. This convinced Narasimhaya. Unfortunately, Humphreys soon fell sick and had to be taken to Ooty, a hill station where he stayed for a few months. When he returned, he told Narasimhaya, Last night, I had a dream. Since you might not believe my verbal description, I am going to draw what I saw. He then drew a hill, a cave on it, a small waterfall besides it, and a sadhu standing there. It was the pictorial depiction of Virupaksha cave and Ramana Maharshi. Narasimhaya was speechless. This is my master's master. Completely convinced about Humphreys now, he wanted to take him to Bhagwan. First, he introduced him to Kavyakantha Ganapati Muni, who was then at Vellore. Kavyakantha was surprised to see this Britisher, who was just 21-year-old and already a superintendent of police. There was a Theosophical Society conference in Tiruvannamalai in which Kavyakantha was to take part. The 3 of them left for Tiruvannamalai. Upon reaching the destination, Humphreys became restless. He wanted to see the saint whom he had seen in his dream. They went to Virupaksha cave and seated themselves in front of Bhagwan. Bhagwan's gaze was fixed on Humphreys for a long time. This is what Humphreys has recorded of his first encounter with Bhagwan. At 2 in the afternoon, we went up the hill to see him. On reaching Virupaksha cave, we sat before him at his feet and said nothing. We sat there thus for a long time, and I felt lifted out of myself. For half an hour, I looked into Maharshi's eyes, which never changed their expression of deep contemplation. I began to realize somewhat that the body is the temple of the Holy Ghost. I could feel that this master's body was not the man. It was the instrument of God, merely a sitting, motionless corpse from which God was radiating terrifically. My own feelings were indescribable. The master is a man beyond description in his expression of dignity, gentleness, self-control, and calm strength of conviction. You can imagine nothing more beautiful than his smile. It is strange what a change it makes in one to have been in his presence. This was the young man's first experience of Bhagwan. Later, Kavyakanta suggested that he put some questions to the master. Humphreys, being very young, enthusiastic and wanting to serve the world, readily agreed. His very first question was, "Master, can I help the world?" Bhagwan, "Help yourself, and you will help the world." Humphreys, "I wish to help the world. Shall I not be helpful?" Bhagwan, "Yes, by helping yourself, you help the world. You are in the world. You are the world. You are not different from the world, nor is the world different from you." Humphreys, after a pause, "Master, can I perform miracles just as Sri Krishna and Jesus Christ did?" Bhagwan, "Did any of them, when they performed them, feel that it was he who was performing the miracle?" Humphreys, "No, master." This was the first hint Bhagwan gave him that he should not be captivated by his occult powers and sense of doership.